Hello, what's up, guys? Will here once again for another fight card breakdown. We're here for UFC Sao Paulo. Jan Blachowicz against Jacare Souza is a main event there, and a card which has got some decent fights throughout. Some people I'm looking forward to seeing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of talking about those fights in the next coming few minutes. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and it'll notify you when my videos are going live. And if you can, please give old Willie a like here and try and see if we can get a few likes on this video if you can. Coming off a couple of really bad weeks. Pick-wise, I've been really bad, so I'm looking forward to actually getting this break and really kind of getting through the December cards, and then we've got another break and really trying seeing if I can pick up and do better in 2020, because 2019's been up and down. I've had some okay cards and other cards have not been great. So yeah, betting wise last week took a hit big time. I came off two cards in a row where I was 5-6 units up for both, lost 5.4. The one that really stands out is the Clids and Abreu fight. I thought he did enough to win that fight, but in Russia, that was the difference with me having a profitable night and me having a kind of bad night. So yeah, but you know what you're going to get when you're fighting Russians in Russia, and in close fights. It was a close fight. So yeah, we're going to get into this fight card straight off the bat though. With about in the women's 125 division, Ariane Lipski against Veronica Macedo, two hotties of the UFC, absolutely stunning girls, and two girls probably in different kind of confidence levels. You'll have Macedo very high in confidence after a win last time against Viana, and then you've got Lipski, who I bigged up big time when she went to the UFC, watched her in KSW, was looking great. She was the violence queen. She showed anything but that. She's been dominated pretty thoroughly in her two fights by Joanne Calderwood, and especially by Molly McCann last time, which really surprised me. I mean, I thought that she would, that was a fight more kind of tailored to her, better tailored fight at this time. I mean, she's been taken down, she's been kind of dominated on the feet, and it's just not, she's not looked the same. So her back's against the wall here. She has to kind of know that. And she's got Macedo, who's coming in here on very short notice. He was supposed to fight South Korea card at the end of December, but she's jumped in here on short notice. I mean, she's coming off a beautiful first round armbar over Polyana Viana, where she looked as good as she ever has. But again, it's only taken a minute into that fight. I've not long did the MMA huddle, and this is one I'm kind of struggling with. I feel like I should be taking Lipski, but I just cannot do it. I think that she's been kind of rabbit in headlights in the UFC. She hasn't shown her full potential. I don't think I just think she's struggling with the UFC lights kind of on her at the minute, and maybe she was overhyped coming in. I definitely overhyped. I'll say that. Macedo's a fighter I've always liked. I think there's a lot of. I think she can be really good if she puts all together. I'm not sure she ever kind of will do, but I think she will win a few fights. I was surprised they kept her after the 3 losses. But yeah, this is a tough fight. I feel like I should be taking Lipsy, but I cannot do it. I cannot trust her in this spot, so I'm going to go Veronica Macedo via a decision in that one there. What's up, Alexandria? I hope you're well. Hope the guys in the chat there are all well. Drop down your picks in there. I can see them as they're coming up. So yeah, Vanessa Melo against Tracy Cortez is up next. You've got Tracy Cortez. I think she came in for a replacement. It's supposed to fight Duro Santana, and then someone else dropped out. Vanessa Melos came in here. I love Tracy Cortez. I love her, how kind of gritty she is. I like her story. I liked her fight in the Dana White Contender Series, where she really fights for her brother who died, passed on. Very, like I say, very gritty. When you look at this fight here, she is going up to 135, which is a little bit of a red flag. She's going to be undersized here. I think strength wise. I think striking wise she's at a disadvantage. But Bufo, what's up, my man? I think she can get takedowns. That's where I think she can win this fight. If this fight stays on the feet, I think that Vanessa Melo can always. By the way, happy birthday, Bufo. I saw that. I saw the guys in the Dog and Pod. Dogger Pass podcast last week mentioned that, so happy birthday, Mark. What's up? Like I say, Vanessa Melo, Tracy Cortez. This is kind of how I see it. Melo, if she keeps it standing, I think she can outbox Tracy Cortez, but I think Cortez can really bum rush her into getting against the fence and getting takedowns. Now, I don't think she can keep her there, but I think she can continuously get takedowns, and that's kind of where I'm going in this one here. But I put a bet on a parlay with someone else further up the card here, and I'm a little bit, I think I jumped the gun on that a little bit too quick. But I do like Tracy Cortez. I like the game that she brings. I think she will be better suited to 125. But I've picked her in this one here. I've got her via a decision, a pretty close decision at that. But if it stays standing, I think she will be in a bit of trouble, if I'm being honest as well. So Douglas Silva de Andrade against the ghost of Renan Barao. For some reason, I feel like Renan Barao is going to pull out one more performance that he's going to show people what he was like 5 years ago. I keep wanting to see that Barao again because he was a destroyer back then. Whether it's TG Dillashaw that destroyed him, whether it's USADA that has absolutely killed him, he has not looked good. I mean, his last two wins, Mitch Gagnon, Felipe Nova, he's jumping between divisions. He's not making weight at 135. He's moving up to 145 where he's just undersized and at a disadvantage with power and taking a lot of shots, and his durability has started to go. Now his durability might be completely on the way out, considering he got knocked out against Luke Sanders last time. So, and when you look at Silva de Andrade, he's a little bit of a tank, but he got broken in his last fight. He got absolutely smoked by Peter Yan. Peter Yan was taking him down. He was busting him up in the feet, put him into the corner. Leighton, what's happening, brother? Hope you're well. His video is now out. I actually just watched it before I came on here, so go check that out, UFC Gambling Addicts. USADA has absolutely ruined him. TG Dillashaw's went through him. I think this is going to be the last fight we see of Renan Barao. For some reason, I've been pushed towards Renan Barao. I just think I really want to see that performance where he can bring it out one more time, because if you've not been a fan of the sport all that long, like I was making prediction videos way back 2012, and Renan Barao was in his pomp between 2012 to 2015, 2014, 2015. Ran through Uriah Faber, absolutely ran through Michael McDonald, who at the time was very, very dangerous. Eddie Wineland was another one, and he was a complete beast. Dana White was calling him the pound-for-pound greatest fighter at that time, and since then, since TG Dillashaw fights, he has looked a ghost, a shell of himself. I think he's been jumping around different camps, and he's dangerous. The guy's still super dangerous. You have to be careful, but you've got a UFC champion, a former UFC champion, plus 200. I mean, that shows you how far he's kind of depleted himself and how far he's fell down the rankings here. He's going to be a big name acquisition for someone out there, Bellator, Risen, whoever it may be. Like I say, I don't know why I think I just want to see Barao do it one more time, but I think that the smart pick here and the smart play has to be Douglas de Silva de Andrade. I think this is the last we're going to see of the Baron in the UFC. So I'm going to go Douglas de Silva de Andrade. Maybe be a TKO late in the fight. If not, I've got a decision there. Warlley Alves against Randy Brown. Close fight. Close fight. I've always kind of respected the work of Randy Brown, because I don't think he's overly talented, but I think he's a very hard worker who puts a lot into his game and tries to get better, and he shows it on occasions, but he also shows his inexperience. I think once he can start to put it all together, I thought he did that against Brian Barberena, where he fought at distance, outstruck Brian Barberena, and then got a beautiful knockout with like punches in the third round there. Got caught by Nico Price. Nico Price catches you in unbelievable positions, and you cannot take that guy for granted in any situation in the fight. Fought Mickey Gall. Everybody was on Mickey Gall that side of the fight. Like I said, I like his progressions that he's making. I still don't think he's all the way there. He might not make it all the way there in the UFC. He's had good opposition. Michael Graves, I think, is a good fighter. Bilal Muhammad, it's a really cusp top 20 guy in that welterweight division. Fought Bam Bam, fought Nico Price, so he's had good calibre opposition. Now he has to start putting it all together, being more consistent, and just trying to get these finishes, get these wins. Warlley Alves is a guy, like I said, another guy I've always liked. And I think recently, probably since his fight in Poland, he started to really pace himself a little bit more, because that's one of the things that jumped out to me, or it was before that he would gas himself, and he still does it, but I think he fights more to the techniques that he has, and I think that he just doesn't overexert himself is probably the word I'm trying to say, and wins over Tuari. Tuari's really just a combination striker, and he doesn't even throw all that many combinations. He throws a 1-2 and that's it, and he doesn't really follow up. He's open for leg kicks, and that's one of the big things I think with Warlley Alves is his low kicks that he should try and use here. Obviously got knocked out by James Krause. That was a nice win for James there. And then he really broke down Sergio Moraes in that fight there. Sergio Moraes is one of those guys that really frustrates me because I think he's got a shit ton of talent. And we might never ever see that kind of in the UFC. I mean, well, we might never see it. He's 37 years old. He's been around the UFC for long enough. I just don't think he really fights to his full potential. And I think that Warlley Alves, he might start to do that because he's super, super dangerous. We've seen him. I mean, the guy's got a win over Colby Covington. Stopped him in the first round, albeit. Super, super dangerous jiu-jitsu game. If he catches you in that guillotine, he chokes that. He rips that in really, really quickly and can take you out really, really quickly. We've seen that. Like I said, I like the way he's fighting recently. This has all... I think this could be a very, very close fight. I think Randy Brown's really, really live on his side. I think Alves fighting at home is going to have obviously, he's going to have all the fans there. This is all the potential, I think, for being a really, really close fight. Like I say, if Warlley's gas tank can really keep up, I think he can win the fight through that. I think if he can really come forward with those leg kicks and really unload on them and use the combinations after it, don't fight, don't get in close and maybe get tied up by someone like Brown, who I think might try and find a way to get to the ground, even though I think that he might be at a disadvantage there. I'm going to pick Warlley Alves. I'm actually going to pick him via stoppage. I still think Bobby Green. I'm looking at Bobby Green already, but Randy Brown is still a little bit green. I still think he's putting it all together, and I still think Warlley Alves is super, super dangerous. So I've got him in this spot here. But what's your most confident pick, wee noob? I'll tell you at the end, brother. I'll let you know. Just let me get through these because I'm going to get some food. I've been up doing podcasts all night, so I'm going to get some food into me in a little bit and watch some NFL. So, most confident pick, I'll tell you at the end of this. I'll have a think about it. Macedo, Francisco Trinaldo, old vet, old dangerous guy. Bobby Green coming back from retirement. The way I kind of see this fight, Bobby Green he's definitely going to have more. He's going to land more shots than what Trinaldo is. He's going to stay on the outside. He's not going to want to engage too much with Trinaldo. I think that he's, like I say, he will outstrike Macedo, who's also a really, really dangerous striker himself. I think the more bigger shots are going to be landed on Trinaldo's side, though. I think, like I say, the output will be on Bobby's side. The harder, maybe better shots in the judges' eyes will fall in Trinaldo's kind of side. But it's a tough one for the simple reason that, like, he's getting up there now. He's getting towards 42 years old in the lightweight division, which is, I mean, that division's as stacked as it really comes. And, like, this guy, he's not taking any kind of easy fights down there. I thought his fight with Alexander Hernandez, I thought the guy, I don't want to say he was robbed. It was a close fight, but I thought he won that fight. The Evan Dunham knockout was just a thunderous body shot. Lost to James Vick, who's just an awkward style matchup for him, and James Vick didn't really engage and really fought a smart game plan. But yeah, he's still one of the guys down there who's really, really tough. He fights well in Sao Paulo, which is always decent. Bobby Green, like I say, I thought he was a little bit unlucky against Drakkar Klose because he totally outstruck him in that one. Got some takedowns as well in that fight, but ultimately ended up losing the fight, went into retirement. He's came back, which MMA retirements never really last, if we're being honest there. But yeah, he outstruck Drakkar Klose, took him down, pass guard a few times. You look at the fight with Eric Koch, where he won that, a lot of output. Again, got a takedown. I think he got Eric Koch at a really good time. He was coming back off a long, long layoff. Got taken down one too many times in my opinion against Vanessa, where, like I say, a high output. The guy throws a lot of strikes in his fight. So if he can keep this where he is landing strikes and not getting hit by Trinaldo, then I think he could maybe outpoint him with that. But I think Trinaldo, like I say, he's going to clinch up a little bit with him. I think he's going to land more thunderous shots. I think he's going to cut the cage off a little bit, and I think he's going to win a very close kind of hometown decision. So I've got Trinaldo in that one there. Ricardo Ramos against Luis Eduardo Garagorri is up next. If you've been watching me for the last, I don't know how long's Ricardo Ramos been in the UFC, 2 years, 3 years, you'll know that I'm a big fan of this kid and I like where he's going. So he's been in the UFC for, 2 years? Coming on 3 years in February. You'll know that I'm a big fan of his talents. He's still only 24 years old. He's fought some really good caliber opposition with Kyung Ho Kang, Saeed Nurmagomedov, who he got beat by, even Mishinori Tanaka, who I think is a really awkward guy to face as well. That was a tough UFC debut. And, I mean, they were trying to get this guy in the UFC before that. He was supposed to face Manny Vasquez, lost to him. I like Ricardo Ramos a lot. I like Johnny. I liked his fight against Johnny Newsom. Now, he probably should have finished that fight. I think he had opportunities to finish that fight. Newsom showed a lot of heart, tough durability in that fight, but I think he should have got him out of there. But coming back after that loss to Nurmagomedov, when he got caught with a vicious spinning back kick, he got back in the saddle. He got the win. I expect him to get the win here. When I look at Garagorri, I mean, I've made a couple of really bad picks this year, especially the guy faced fucking Humberto Bandenay. I mean, that guy is trash, and he's been let go by the UFC, thankfully, so I don't ever have to watch any more fights of Bandenay ever again. But I got caught with the Staropoli one, where I thought Hector Aldana was going to give him a fight, and then I did the same with Garagorri when he was fighting Bandenay, and there were clearly setups for the hometown guys to win, and I missed them, so stuff like that kind of ickles at me a little bit. But Garagorri, like, his biggest fight was against Bandenay in his home country of Uruguay, or where he stays, or where he was born, or whatever. I think he fights out of Brazil, but yeah, when I look at this matchup, I see Ramos just better in every aspect. Faster, cleaner, better footwork, better head movement, more variations of his combination. I think he's got a really elite ground game. I just spat everywhere there, my bad. Yeah, I like Ramos in this spot. I was going to parlay him up with actually Tracy Cortez, but I went in a different way because I thought I got a line, so I didn't think I was going to get a line in a certain fighter further up the card, so I've parlayed someone further on. I'll talk about that. But I've got Ramos. I'm very confident. Most confident pick, Ricardo Ramos. I think it was the noob guy who called me the noob. Ricardo Ramos is my most confident pick. Sergio Moraes against James Krause up next. I keep picking Sergio Moraes. I keep getting dusted with picking him. James Krause, very crafty veteran, very underrated. I think he's been like that his whole entire career. And I think he's whittled off like a 5-fight win streak over the last 5 years. I think his last loss was, 5 years ago? I want to say. I can't remember who it was to. I remember he beat Cruikshank, he beat Shane Campbell. Who did he lose to? That's going to annoy me if I can't remember that. Oh, Valmir Lazaro, and that was a close fight as well. So, yeah, he's the 3 wins in that 5-fight win streak. I mean, Darren Cruikshank's not with the UFC anymore. Shane Campbell's not. Good wins regardless. Tom Galicchio, yeah. His last 2 wins, I've been super impressed with. Alex White, Warlley Alves, that was a beautiful finish of Warlley. And now he's coming back, he's coming down to Brazil here and he's facing Moraes. Moraes is one of those guys that frustrates the life out of me because he's so good in one spot, but he will not shoot for takedowns. He's fallen in love with his striking, and it's just it kind of sickens me a little bit because you see the fight with Ben Saunders. You got Ben Saunders down. Ben Saunders could do nothing, and he is a really crafty guy on the mat. But he's fell in love with his striking, and his output's not great. But if he gets it to the ground, I think he could really cause problems for James Krause. It's getting there because I think he will get outstruck. He's got some big power as well, but he's getting on. He's 37 years old. A little stat for you here. I don't think he's ever lost in Sao Paulo. He's like 8-0. But I still think he's a really hard matchup, stylistic matchup for a lot of guys, because if you go at the ground with this guy, that you could ultimately get submitted by this guy. Warlley Alves, I think, got taken down a few times and did really, really well getting back to his feet and really just beating him up with those leg kicks and really getting after him. Like I say, James Krause, I think, is one of the most underrated coaches in the game as well. I've seen him, I think it was in Belfast. Who was fighting on that card? He was there with somebody, I can't remember who it was. Was it Zach Cummins maybe? And I was in Dublin. It was one of the two of them, and I got to see a little bit of his coaching with a fighter. Really spot on. You've seen a lot of guys come through. I mean, Grant Dawson, he's had since a young age. Megan Anderson, so on. But a really good coach. I really enjoy listening to certain things, what he was trying on his fighters and so on. And that was nice, and just kind of let me and a friend in there to kind of watch a little bit of them training up towards the fight. I'm going to pick Sergio Moraes. I'm going to take a shot in the dog here. I think it has all the aspects of being close. I just hope Sergio Moraes can really go after it, try and get takedowns, because if he can, I think he can win large spots of that fight down there, be heavy in top position, go out to side mount, look for submission, which is obviously his bread and butter. Don't make this a striking fight, because if he does, he's not gonna win a striking fight, not unless he lands some big shots. Yeah, I am Brew, John. So yeah, I am gonna go Sergio Moraes in that one there. Moving on to the main card, we have Markus Maluko Perez against Wellington Turman. I was really impressed by Wellington Turman in his UFC debut. I thought he did really well against Carl Roberson. I was of the inkling that I thought if he got the fight to the ground, he would submit Roberson, because he's shown a tendency to get submitted down on the ground and or put himself in bad spots where he could potentially get submitted. Came through that one. Didn't look all too bad in his feet, but you can see where his bread and butter is. He likes to get the fight to the ground. Perez is a guy that is super awkward to face. Got a lot of skills on the mat himself. Throws some weird strikes sometimes. Yeah, but we've seen he's got a ground game himself that can maybe keep up with someone like Wellington Turman. I think Turman's coming in here on short notice. I wanted to be kind of confident in Wellington Turman, but I can't. The line's pretty close. Like, it's -130 Perez, +110 Turman. So people out there are betting Turman and they think it's close. Perez is just awkward to face, and he's, like I say, when the couple of times we've seen him in the UFC, when the fight goes to the ground, he's finished fights. So it says to me that if the fight goes there, I think it's going to be even. When I see it on the feet, I think that Perez has just got a little bit more power, a little bit more. He's just a little bit more awkward. He might land more. He might push the pace more, and ultimately I see him kind of winning a close decision. But would it surprise me if Wellington won? No. If you got a better line on Wellington, then I wouldn't mind that shot at all. I just think that Perez is going to do enough to win this fight, so I've got him in that one. Antonio Arroyo against Andre Muniz. This is a good fight. There's a reason this has been put on the main card, because I think it's got all the ingredients to be a really action-packed fight where a finish could definitely take place. You've got Muniz. I think both guys have had Dana White contender fights where they've been in Brazil and in Vegas. You look at Arroyo, kicks like a mule, absolutely wicked high kicks, wicked body kicks, just wicked kicks in general. And then you look at Muniz, all of his losses have been via knockout, so he can maybe not take the cleanest of shots. So that's obviously what Arroyo wants to do. He wants to knock him out. Muniz, I think, wants to get this fight to the mat where he's got some nasty jiu-jitsu, really, really good at securing positions, like grabbing the hand, just moving, slight little movements to get into position where he can maybe get the back or side control. And that's what I think, obviously, both guys need to do. So all in all, you've got Arroyo wanting to knock him out. You've got Muniz, I think, who will do enough in the feet to maybe get into a position where he could clinch with him. I've got the funny feeling that Arroyo might start spamming kicks, and Muniz might start grabbing, might grab one of the kicks and get the takedowns through that. I've seen some people message me regarding this fight. Some people are on Arroyo, some are on Muniz. I've been kind of going back and forward a little bit. Ultimately, I'm going to pick Andre Muniz. I think he's going to catch a kick, and I think he's going to get the submission. Looking forward to seeing those two newcomers, though. That they've been put on this main card for a reason, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But my pick's going to be Muniz, second round submission in that one there. The Bronx, Charles Oliveira, one of the guys who's absolutely scorching through the UFC lightweight division, gets an opponent in Jared Gordon, which I think is, it's like, come on, UFC, you can do better than matching this guy up with Jared Gordon after the run that he's been on. Charles Oliveira, nearly 10 years strong in the UFC, came into the UFC, was an absolute phenom at the time, really young kid. He's had his lulls, but but now I think we're seeing the best Charles Oliveira. Super confident in the feet. We don't need to talk about his opportunistic jiu-jitsu and his grappling, because it doesn't take much for him to really land something and you're tapping out. The guy's got the most submissions, I think, in the UFC. The guy's got an absolute ton of bonus checks that he's had. But the 2019 Charles Oliveira is an absolute beast. Now, you've still got that thing in the back of your mind here where he could pull a stunt where he could get punched in the throat and maybe flop to the ground, or like he did with Max Holloway. But this, since that Paul Felder loss, where Paul Felder fought, I didn't think it was great fight IQ fighting in the guard of Charles Oliveira. He nearly got caught a few times. Since then, absolutely flew past Guida, Hiagos, Miller. David Tama is the one I take a lot from, because Tama is a really good striker, precise, fast, really good footwork, and Charles Oliveira was ripping him up in the feet. He really, David Tama was trying everything. He was trying the eye pokes, he was trying everything, but ultimately he was never really in that fight against Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira absolutely ran through him. Nick Lentz beat Nick Lentz fairly convincingly, and the guy deserves, in my opinion, a ranked top 15 guy. You look at his losses are, and I said this on the MMA Huddle, I couldn't believe when I was looking through, his losses are to Paul Felder, Lamas, Pettis, Holloway, Edgar, Swanson, Cerrone, Jim Miller. The guy's losing to ranked fighters. He doesn't lose to bad fighters at all. I'm not saying that Jared Gordon's a bad fighter. I think he's a very tough, durable guy. But this should be a spot where Charles Oliveira should be pushed more into that top 15 in general. He deserves a bigger fight than what he's getting here. Gordon, like I said, super tough, super durable, gives his all. He's got a great story behind him with the drugs and everything. But coming over the win, Damaret pushed him in that one there. I think that if Oliveira was in that fight, Oliveira would have got him out of there. Went fairly close with Joaquim Silva, started off well, got a lot of takedowns. He's a good fighter and he's faced good calibre opposition. He faced Hikran Diaz in his debut, who was always a little bit of an awkward guy. That was in Sao Paulo, so he's coming into an arena which he knows. He's been there before, he knows what the city's like, where to go to get his foods and so on. Then he faced a couple of, Carlos de Ferreira's just an absolute beast. Joaquim Silva hits really, really hard. Then he beat Damaret. Like I say, I'm talking about Jared Gordon. I should be talking about Charles Oliveira here. Plus 300's a little high on Jared Gordon. He's going to be a live fighter because he's going to bring the fight to Oliveira, but I just don't think he's got the tools to beat Charles Oliveira. I was talking about that parlay I had earlier on. I had Tracy Cortez. I was going to put Ricardo Ramos on that. Changed my mind. I got minus 275 on Charles Oliveira. He's minus 360 now. I think it's plus 109, plus 110 in that parlay. I like it. I just need to get through the Cortez side of it, and then I think I'll get through it with Oliveira. But I've got Charles Oliveira to win first round submission here. I think he's going to extend his most submissions in the UFC run here and get it done. Co-main event, the return of Shogun against Beardew Paul Craig. massive fight for Paul Craig coming in here on short notice. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? You're getting to face Shogun? Dude, that's awesome. I know Shogun is at the tail end of his career, but he is one of the legends of MMA in my opinion. The guy's been, he must be coming on probably, 19, 20 years in the sport, faced the best of the best, still going strong, still winning fights at the highest level. The guy's 37, about to turn 38 years old in a couple of weeks' time. I mean, just an absolute dangerous fighter in every aspect. Ground fighter. We all know about his striking. Just a killer. He's obviously depleting a little bit. He can't take a shot as well as he once did, but he's still a game fighter in every aspect. He's a black belt. He has been for many years. And he's won 4 of his last 5 fights. And this is the fight he should win. If he loses to Paul Craig here, I'd be surprised, honestly. I think that people are pretty... I've seen a few people actually on Paul Craig, and I'm like, Paul Craig's awkward because he might come out straight away and instantly start just diving at legs, which he might do. He might clinch up, he might just flop to his back. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing if he started going for the legs and try and get Shogun into the position where he's on top. If he's offensively grappling here in an offensive mode where he's the one winning the positions and in better positions than Shogun, then it's very dangerous because he can get chokes. You can see that. He can get takedowns. He's on the feet. Shogun starches him in many areas. He can absolutely rip through Paul Craig. I don't think Paul Craig wants to have anything on the feet with Shogun because I don't think it'll take much to drop someone like Paul Craig. He might take a little shot and just go to his back anyway, so see if Shogun will follow up and drop into his guard and maybe try and catch him through that. But ultimately, I have to go with Shogun here. I think he can get it done early. Paul Craig's up and down. This is a good opponent. And in Brazil, it's a rough one going into enemy territory and beating someone like Shogun. Like I say, I wish Paul all the best. Obviously, he's from Scotland. He's just down the road in Coatbridge, Glasgow, where else he's from. Great guy. But I'm on the man Shogun here. Shogun, I'm going to take him first round. First round knockout for the legend that is Mauricio Hua. And the main event of the night, we have the Polish powerhouse, Jan Blachowicz against Ronaldo, Jacare Souza. One of the guys I've loved watch fight for the longest time. I like his style. I think he's still super dangerous. And we all know about his jiu-jitsu, but I think he's got dangerous striking as well. I think that it's something that it comes to the forefront. You see it in like the Weidman fight, where he can stand in the pocket and hurt you with some shots. But ultimately, is he going to be one of these guys that's going to make, like, the people that have moved from 185 to 205, it's not fared well for them, and Jan's had a bit of that where he's welcomed people to 205 and hurt them badly. Look, Rockhold thought he could come in there and absolutely run through Blachowicz, get some takedowns, and when he realised he couldn't take him down, Rockhold just froze in there. Blachowicz caught him with a beautiful shot. Absolutely, and saying that, look, Rockhold's chin has been deteriorating vastly. I still think that Souza can take a better shot. We've only seen him knocked out recently by the Reaper, Robert Whittaker, where in that first round Souza was doing everything he could, but ultimately he couldn't take him down and establish in the ground, and then on the feet he got beat up. Once Rob started landing the cleaner shots, he started to kind of fade a little bit. The Jack Hermansson fight, I just had that feeling in that fight that Jack was going to really show the MMA world what he was all about, and he did that. I mean, he was the one that was getting takedowns in that fight, and he was just popping back up, and he was fighting the good fight. But as the fight was kind of moving into the later part, I think the Jacare 1-3, 1-5, they were close rounds, but over that 5-minute fight, I thought that Jacare was still in there to the last part of that fight, but it's going to be interesting because he's moving up. that £20 from 185 to 205 is huge. And you've got someone like Jan, who I think since the Manawa fight has really found his confidence in his striking, and his overall kind of durability, and he started to kind of finish a few more fights. He's always someone I thought wasn't overly a finisher. I thought he had cardio problems. He left his coach, went back to his coach, and since he went back to his coach, he has looked as good as ever, and he's right on the doorstep of getting a title shot. You've got Dominic Reyes. If he beats Jacare here, he's right in line. You've got Rakic against Ozdemir in a few weeks' time. It comes down to these three guys. I think Reyes is going to get the next shot regardless. But Jacare, this is a big spot here. I think he can... I think how he wins this fight is obviously he needs to get the fight to the ground, but I think he can hurt him on the feet. I think he's got some big power. I think his kickboxing's come on through the years. It's been better. You've seen that with his high kicks of Derek Brunson, with his obviously his knockout of Chris Weidman. But it's just, yeah, it's rough. It's a rough fight for him, I think. But I've got a feeling this is just going to be. I don't think this is going to be. I seen Booth on there saying, is he going to pull a Weidman, a Rockhold? I'm not saying that. It could happen, but I think this is going to be a really tough fight for Blachowicz, especially if somehow Jacare can get this to the ground. I think if the way he has to do it, he's not going to get takedowns in open space, so he has to get. I think he has to use his striking to get him into the clinch. Now Blachowicz is a really tough guy to manoeuvre in the clinch. He gets underhooks really, really well. So I think. If he doesn't establish the underhook, Jan, then I think he could potentially get tripped. And then once it goes to the ground, I think that's when he's in Jacare's world. But it's hard to really... It is hard to see him getting down there. But I just don't think this fight... I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Jan's going to blast him, kind of like the Rockhold fight. I don't see that at all. It could happen, though. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see... I think Jacare's got a little bit more spirit, a little bit more toughness. I think he's fighting at home. He realises this is maybe his last hurrah to get a title shot against John Jones. Jones has come out and said that he's not been... these new guys coming through, it's not really enticed him into anything. Somebody like Jacare, a couple of big wins, if he was to beat Blachowicz and maybe get another big win, he could get a shot in 2020 possibly. I'm going to pick Jacare Souza against my detriment there. This might be a bad pick. I've got the feeling it could be. I've had that with a couple recently. But I feel like taking a shot on a dog in the main event. I think he's going to show up. He's going to be coming after Jan Blachowicz here. I think he can hurt him in the feet. Obviously I think he can hurt him in the ground. But Blachowicz is in a great spot. Super aggressive at the minute. And looks to be finishing fights. I mean, he really brought it to Thiago Santos and end up getting countered and knocked out. But yeah, I'm going to go Jacare. 4th round submission. I'm going to go for it. Why not? So that's my picks for UFC Sao Paulo, guys. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I've seen everybody there. Really do appreciate that. We've got a 3-week break, which I'm really looking forward to, and getting some Christmas shopping done. I need to get that out the road. 3 big cards to finish off the year. Washington, UFC 245. Oh my goodness gracious me. What a card that is. And then we've got the South Korea card where we've got T-City against the Korean Zombie. Great fight to finish off the year. Then we're going to have a couple of weeks off heading into the new year, and then a big 2020. So guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for the likes. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Help me grow my channel. It's much appreciated. And then guys, everybody keep on in the chat there. I appreciate Buffer, you're my man. All the best, brother, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. Enjoy the fight card this upcoming weekend. Peace.